Now, it's inevitable. You're going to break strings. So what do you do when you bust your high E string? Well, you could pop on over to your nearest friendly guitar shop, and for a couple of bucks, the tech can remove, change, and tune your new string in a couple of minutes, and you'll be back in business in no time. Now, I've worked at a guitar shop for the past 15 years, and I've made lots of money changing strings for customers who either don't have the time or the know-how to do it themselves. So I and my wallet are actually more than happy to oblige, but more often than not, I like to call the customer back into the shop with me and show them what I'm doing, in the hopes that next time they break a string, they can handle it themselves. After all, strings do break after 5 p.m. on a Saturday, and most guitar shops I've ever visited are usually closed on Sunday. So let's take the bull by the horns and learn how to change our own strings at home or on the gig. Now, the procedure we're about to discuss I've always called field stringing, because this is how I change strings on a gig or in the field, where I have to change usually a single string which breaks during a song. And it works whether we're changing a single string or a whole set. In fact, when changing an entire set of strings, I almost always change them one at a time. Now, this ensures that there's always some tension on the neck. And this should minimize the need to do a neck adjustment every time we do a full string change. Matter of fact, the only time I ever remove all the strings at once is if I need to condition the fingerboard, and usually by the time you need to condition your fingerboard, it's likely a neck adjustment or a setup is warranted. Now, for this project, we'll need a fresh set of strings, of course, and if you have a string winder and wire snips, even better. So I'm sure that some of you will recognize this guitar as the guitar that I converted into a ukulele for the Ukulele for Guitar Players video. And this has been unstrung since I made that video. And I keep meaning to use this guitar for a stringing video, and that stringing video just keeps getting pushed back, further and further and further. So this is the guitar that we will be using for the string change demonstration. Now, at the shop, I change strings on the shop's workbench, but at home I usually change strings with the guitar on my lap. Now, if you have a workbench, I'd recommend that you use it for your first few changes. So let's remove normally the 6th string, but we'll remove the high A. Now, after the running end is free from the string winder post, pull the pin from the bridge and extract the ball end of the string. Now, most string winders have a built-in string puller, so use it. Now, if your pin is stuck, reach inside the guitar and gently push the pin up from the inside as you pull with your pullers. Don't overexert pressure on the pin, it can actually break. Matter of fact, I was showing a student how to change strings just about a week ago, and I forced the pin and it broke. So be careful. Just be patient and persistent, and the pin will eventually come. By the way, I had no worries on this pin because it is made of brass. So let's talk for a second about how pin bridges work. Here we see a diagram of the top of the guitar. This is the top itself. This is the bridge, and this is the bridge plate on the underside of the top. Now, the pin fits into the hole, which is drilled from the top of the bridge through the underside of the bridge plate. Now, when we pull the ball end, when we put the ball end of the string into the hole, we want it to pull up against the bridge plate, where it also lodges against the inside of the pin, and it locks the string into place. What we don't want is for the pin, for the ball end to catch at the bottom of the pin right here, because when we start bringing the string up to pitch, we can launch the pin across the room. Also, be prepared because sometimes you'll hear some frightening noises like the guitar is cracking, but it's usually just the ball end, which has been caught at the bottom, popping into place at the bridge plate. So don't freak out. Now, in the interest of good information, just letting you know what I like to do, I use D'Addario EJ19s on this guitar. They have the bass strings of a 13 set and the treble strings of a 12. It's known as a bluegrass set. I like the heavier bass strings for a lot of heavy flat picking on the bass strings. Now, when mounting the string to the bridge, I usually like to give a slight crimp in the string close to the ball end. And this will help it slip into place against the bridge plate. And what you do is place the ball end into the hole and then insert the bridge pin, I hope you can see that, with the groove running along the string. Then set the ball end by pulling firmly but gently. You may have to hold the pin in place. And at this point, the string should be firmly mounted to the bridge. Now, if we turn our attention to the tuning machine, insert the running end of the string into the hole. And pull through. At this point, it's important to understand that successful stringing is all about managing string tension. From this point forward, we must keep the string pulled tight. Remember that. Now, place your index finger at the first fret and fret the string. This ensures that the string is running through the nut slot. Now, with your thumb and middle finger, pull the string upward about 1.5 inches to 2 inches to give yourself some winding slack, and then begin winding. Remember, keep tension on the string and be sure you always wind on the inside of the string post. And always direct each wind down the length of the post. Now, when the string begins to bear its own tension, you can let go of it. Now, usually I like to keep no more than 2 wraps around the post because it allows for quicker removal when I have to change a string quickly. Now, at this point, I like to tune the string to its prescribed pitch. Repeat for each string, and we'll be strung in no time. Now, if you've been tuning as you go along, you should be roughly in tune. Probably very roughly. So let's go ahead and get a good, accurate tuning. And then I'm going to make one more pass just to make sure we're in good shape. So we're good now, right? Well, not quite. These strings are going to stretch for several days if left alone. So let's go ahead and pre-stretch them. Now, gently but firmly tug along the entire length of the strings. And notice I'm just pulling and pushing with my thumb and fingers. And now let's return the strings back to pitch. Now, you'll still have to fine tune for the next day or so, but it should be minimal. So, what do we do with all of this excess string at the headstock? Well, the logical answer is to trim the ends. However, and you won't believe this, my clippers just broke. I was trying to have to bend one of the blades back into shape to where it would meet with the other. But since I can't clip, let me show you a spiffy little trick that you can use if you ever find yourself without wire snips. Basically, just pretend it's Christmas. Take the back of a key or a stout pocket knife blade and pretend you're curling the ribbon on a freshly wrapped Christmas present. Voila! The running ends of the strings are now out of the way of the fingerboard. Let's do a couple more. And if any of you are Richie Blackmore fans, you'll notice that all through the 70s, he always had curly strings at the string posts. Now, when you can access your clippers, simply cut about 3/8 of an inch from the string post. Now, you're probably going to have to retune. But now the strings are out of your way. We can clip them later. And with a little fine tuning, you're good to go. So here are a few things to keep in mind. 1, everyone changes strings differently. Some people do an initial wind over the running end before wrapping down the post. Some will crimp the running end before clipping. Some people prefer 3 to 4 wraps around the post. Remember, keep in mind that there's really no wrong way. Remember, my stringing method has developed around my need to do near instant string changes between songs on a gig. Actually, sometimes even during a song while one of the other players takes a solo. Experiment with the method that works best for you. 2, it may take you a few string changes before the stringing routine becomes really comfortable and consistent, but it'll get easier each time. So don't get frustrated and throw in the towel. Keep changing your own strings. 3, depending on the guitar you're stringing, there can be variations in the routine. Be ready to improvise, compensating for differences in an individual guitar's construction. 4, a freshly strung guitar can sound a little astringent for a day or two. Now, personally, I love the resonance and the clang of a fresh set, but really that's just a matter of taste and personal preference. The more you work those strings, the quicker they'll lose that clang and develop a full balanced tone. So put a little time in playing on that guitar. 5, if your strings sound muffled, feel grimy, look discolored, or you notice the wrapping wire is fraying or breaking at the frets, it's time to change them. Go ahead and change the entire set. I only ever change a single string to get to the end of a gig. Next day, I'll usually change the whole set. 6, you'll feel a profound sense of satisfaction at doing the job yourself, and your wallet will feel a profound sense of satisfaction as well. Keep in mind that there are different types of acoustic bridges, including rear mount and tie block bridges. And when we consider electric guitars, there are even more options, including rear mount, string through body, trim bridges, trapeze tailpieces, and more. However, stringing is stringing. The basic procedure is fundamentally the same, no matter how the strings are anchored to the bridge or the winder posts. And we'll deal with those differing anchoring methods in some future videos, so stay tuned. Remember, please like, share, and subscribe if you're enjoying the channel's content, and feel free to leave comments or suggestions for any topics you might like to see in future videos. Also, hit the notification bell so you'll always know when new content is posted. My name's Dave Holland, and thanks for watching String 'em Up. Have fun, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.